Ever wondered why your car suddenly feels off? Maybe it's sluggish, using too much fuel, or that annoying check engine light keeps popping up. These could be signs of one hidden issue, a bad mass airflow sensor, also known as the MAF sensor. In this video, we're breaking down 11 major symptoms of a faulty MAF sensor and what they mean for your vehicle. Ignoring them could cost you a fortune, so let's get into it. 1. Check engine light is on. One of the most common and earliest indicators of a faulty mass airflow (MF) sensor is the illumination of the check engine light on your dashboard. This happens when the sensor sends data to the engine control unit (ECU) that's outside of the expected range, either too much air or too little. Since the MAF sensor plays a vital role in helping the ECU balance the air-to-fuel ratio, any disruption in its function triggers a fault code. This light may come on by itself, even if the vehicle still feels like it's running normally. However, behind the scenes, the ECU is already compensating for bad data, which can lead to further issues down the line. Using a diagnostic scanner, you may find codes like P0100 to P0104, each related to different MAF sensor problems. 2. Poor acceleration and sluggish performance. A failing MAF sensor directly affects your car's performance, particularly when accelerating. When you press the gas pedal, the ECU uses airflow data from the MAF to determine how much fuel to inject into the engine. If the sensor is dirty or faulty, it may misread the amount of air coming in, causing the engine to receive either too much or too little fuel. The result is noticeable hesitation or a lack of power when accelerating. Your vehicle might feel heavy or delayed in its response, especially during tasks like overtaking on the highway or going uphill. This is one of the more frustrating symptoms for drivers because it impacts the basic responsiveness of the car. 3. Rough idling or engine stalling. At idle, your engine operates at low RPMs and relies on very precise air-fuel mixing. A bad MAF sensor disrupts this balance, often causing the engine to run rough or vibrate when the vehicle is stopped. You might feel the steering wheel shaking or hear the engine struggle to maintain a steady rhythm. In more severe cases, especially when the engine is cold or under stress, the car might stall completely. This can happen at stop signs, in traffic, or even while parking. The inconsistency in the airflow reading makes it difficult for the ECU to keep the engine running smoothly when it's not under load. 4. Black smoke from the exhaust. If your vehicle is producing black smoke from the tailpipe, it's a strong sign that it's running rich, meaning there's too much fuel and not enough air in the combustion chamber. A malfunctioning MAF sensor can mislead the ECU into injecting more fuel than necessary, and that excess fuel doesn't always burn completely. What doesn't burn gets expelled as thick, black smoke. This not only decreases your engine's efficiency, but also increases carbon buildup in your exhaust system. Left unchecked, it can damage components like the catalytic converter and oxygen sensors, leading to even more costly repairs. 5. Hard starting or no start condition. When a car struggles to start or refuses to start altogether, it's often due to problems with the air-fuel mixture. During startup, the ECU relies heavily on accurate MAF sensor input to know how much fuel to inject based on how much air is entering the engine. If the sensor is faulty, the ECU may deliver the wrong amount of fuel, which makes starting the engine difficult. 6. Poor fuel economy. One of the more costly symptoms of a bad MAF sensor is a noticeable drop in fuel efficiency. When the sensor misjudges the airflow, the ECU can end up supplying more fuel than necessary, thinking the engine needs it. Over time, you'll find yourself visiting the fuel pump more often than usual, despite driving the same distances. 7. Hesitation or jerking during acceleration. A faulty MAF sensor can also cause the vehicle to hesitate or jerk while accelerating. This happens when the ECU receives inconsistent or delayed airflow data and reacts by adjusting the fuel delivery erratically. As a result, the engine may surge forward briefly, then hesitate, creating a jerky or uneven ride. This is particularly noticeable when trying to accelerate quickly, such as merging onto a highway or passing another vehicle. 8. Engine surges or misfires. Engine surging occurs when the RPMs rise and fall unexpectedly, often while cruising at a steady speed. Misfires, on the other hand, are small hiccups in engine performance, where one or more cylinders fail to fire correctly. Both issues can be linked to a bad MAF sensor. Because the ECU is getting incorrect airflow information, it may send too much or too little fuel to the cylinders. This can cause the engine to run lean, not enough fuel, or rich, too much fuel, resulting in uneven combustion. Over time, repeated misfires can damage spark plugs, ignition coils, and even internal engine components. 9. Unusual engine noises. When the air-fuel mixture is off, combustion becomes less efficient, and that can create strange noises under the hood. A bad MAF sensor can lead to a variety of unusual sounds, including popping, backfiring, or even hissing noises, especially when accelerating. These sounds indicate incomplete or improper combustion and may come from the intake or exhaust system. 10. Failed emissions test. If your vehicle is due for a smog or emissions test, a failing MAF sensor could prevent it from passing. This is because incorrect air-fuel mixtures result in increased emissions of harmful gases like carbon monoxide, CO, hydrocarbons, HC, and nitrogen oxides, NOx. The catalytic converter may not be able to clean these gases effectively if the engine isn't burning fuel properly. Since emissions tests are strict in many regions, especially in the US, UK, and parts of Europe, even a slightly off-balance mixture can trigger a failure. If your car recently failed an emissions test without a clear explanation, the MAF sensor should be checked. 11th. Transmission shifting issues. While it might seem unrelated, a malfunctioning MAF sensor can actually affect your automatic transmission. Modern transmissions rely on engine load data, which comes from the MAF sensor, to determine optimal shift points. If the ECU believes the engine is under more or less load than it actually is, it may cause the transmission to shift too early, too late, or too abruptly. Drivers often report delayed shifts, hard gear changes, or unusual RPM behavior during driving. These symptoms are often mistaken for transmission problems, but the real culprit could be the MAF sensor providing false load data. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you understand the signs of a bad MAF sensor, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more easy-to-follow car maintenance tips and repair guides. I upload regularly to help you diagnose and fix common automotive issues without the guesswork. If you're experiencing any of these symptoms or have questions about your vehicle, feel free to drop a comment below. I'd be happy to help. And if you're ready to take the next step, check out my next video on how to clean or replace a MAF sensor safely at home. Stay informed, take care of your ride, and I'll see you in the next one.